even on a bright day like today, is you can feel like there's darkness creeping in around you. I feel like I've got a crowd of bodies all around me.
Adam Watson joined the Air Force just before 9/11. For a kid who was a little uncertain about his path in life, things became crystal clear on that day.
I believed that it was vital for us to track down the people who attacked us on 9/11.
Adam was deployed to Afghanistan. There he worked on an intelligence team who targeted, located, and eliminated top-tier terrorists with drone strikes.
The guys that are on our list have done terrible things, and they need to be stopped doing terrible things.
Adam was a high performer in this role. He found fulfillment in his job and took pride in making a difference. But there was a price to pay: the likelihood of innocent casualties in drone attacks.
You make a decision that this guy is bad enough that even if we're going to kill innocents around them, that he's bad enough to justify it. And some of those innocents are kids. I don't think I'll ever be okay with that. I don't think that I'll ever forgive myself.
In the moment, there's no time to pause and process these thoughts. But years later, Adam now knows that this is the root of his post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD.
My PTSD has very little to do with what was done to me or to my friends even. It has much more to do with what I did to others. I didn't kill someone with my hands around their neck. That doesn't mean I didn't kill them.
Adam tried to bury the guilt deep inside, but it didn't always work, and things started to get complicated when he got back from his second deployment.
Adam was very different when he got home from the military.
I don't think I even was fully conscious of how I felt about it until, with my fiance at the time, now wife, we'd gone to her cousin's house for a party, and I'd had way too much to drink.
I was helping him into bed, and he was telling me that he was a murderer and that he didn't deserve to live. And that was the point where I knew that he was more broken than, maybe I suspected. It was definitely a big clue.
Adam was in therapy for the loss of his brother due to suicide, but the PTSD was overwhelming.
Despite the fact that I was going through therapy, that I was being medicated for my depression, I was miserable. I was thinking about how I wanted to die, so obviously something was wrong.
Things got even worse after the birth of their first child.
I started to have these thoughts that because of what I did in Afghanistan, something was going to happen to him.
And these fears grew as his next two children were born.
It keeps me up at night. I don't sleep well. I don't sleep soundly. Basically, I will get tired enough that I can fall asleep for a few hours and then I'll wake up. It feels like it is mixed with my hypervigilance.
Adam's hypervigilance affected his day-to-day life, like going to crowded places he used to enjoy.
One of the things that we like to do is go to Renaissance festivals, and if I can't keep my eyes on 3 kids, which is difficult, I can feel the anxiety, just, the sweat dripping off of me, my heart pounding, the difficulty breathing, and I'm making their lives miserable when I'm like that because I'm lashing out.
Eventually, Adam began to have suicidal thoughts.
He came home one day and he said, "I think I need to go to the hospital. I'm really having serious suicidal thoughts. I imagine myself driving off the road or, doing something." And so we basically dropped everything that we were doing, and I took him to the VA hospital, and he checked himself in for a 72-hour hold.
Adam stabilized, but things did not improve much. He hid away at home, but he couldn't hide how he was feeling from his family.
His fuse is short, and any one of us might set it off.
It's the unpredictability of those kinds of things that's really hard to deal with.
But more than anyone, the bursts of anger bothered Adam.
I will shout, I will verbally bully, and it makes my skin crawl to talk about it, even to this day, because it's not who I am. It's not, I hate it. I hate that part of me.
With the hope of changing for his family, Adam discovered the Warrior Care Network, a partnership between Wounded Warrior Project and 4 world-renowned academic medical centers. The network provides veterans and service members treatment for PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and military sexual trauma. One of these medical centers is Home Base, located in Boston.
I'm really excited for Adam to attend the Home Base program. I think it will be good for him to hear that other people are feeling the same things.
He loves being a husband to Sarah and a father to these children. I'm hoping that the treatment that he has ahead of him helps him get beyond the things that are interfering with that deep love, because the family is his heart.
The vision that I have for myself is that I will be someone who doesn't scare their kids. That's what, honestly, if I can achieve that, that's amazing.
Adam spent 2 weeks in the intensive outpatient program at Home Base. Laura Harward, intensive clinical program director at Home Base, oversees the admissions process and was the first person that Adam spoke to.
The day in our program is, as the name implies, very intensive. Patients are getting nearly 11 to 12 hours worth of care every single day. They'll start the day with fitness or yoga or art therapy. About half of someone's day is in different types of skills groups and group therapies. Those skills groups are really focused on tangible tools that someone can use to help them cope with some of the symptoms that they're dealing with. The other half of someone's day is typically very focused in on individual care. So they're getting daily individual intensive trauma-focused therapy or cognitive rehabilitation therapy, depending on what they need.
Looking back, Adam says he found prolonged exposure therapy the most challenging thing during his time at Home Base.
It was really intensive, talking about some of the worst things that have occurred to me in my life, and doing it again and again and again.
But according to Dr. Kyle Faust, clinical psychologist at Home Base, it is one of the most effective ways of treating PTSD.
Even though the treatment can be tough, it can be highly beneficial and allow you to have that chance of reclaiming your life.
The way folks at Home Base made this happen for Adam is by aligning treatments like prolonged exposure therapy with his goals.
Very common goals are going to be things like reducing anger and frustration, improving relationships with family members. Those are oftentimes the most common things we hear.
I've noticed a remarkable decrease in my anger, that I'm able to control my anger. When I do have an outburst, I'm able to get back into control quicker. My sleep has been better. I don't know that I can say directly that that's all related to the PE, but it certainly seems that there has to be something related to that.
The change happened so quickly, it even surprised Adam on the ride back home from Home Base.
My wife and kids picked me up, and they're all in the car. It's late. It was, certainly past Lucy's bedtime. And they were driving my wife crazy. And I didn't lose my cool. I, used my breathing techniques and calmly started working with them. And shock of shocks, it works better than yelling.
Remind yourself about the breathing. You might even be able to start it before you begin the exposure itself.
The meditative breathing technique is among the strategies Adam learned at Home Base for better control.
It gives you time to calm yourself down, to think about what you're going to do, what's going to, things like that. It prevents you from making these snap, decisions. Physiologically, it lowers my heart rate. It seems like a silly thing to do, but it's a great tool.
His wife Sarah has noticed the changes.
She's noticed that I'm calmer. We don't really fight much anymore. But even when we do that, I feel like both of us benefited from this, and the fact that we both kind of stop and say, wait, hold on. Taking those few moments, the seconds, to stop and think before reacting is huge.
Today, Adam is a full-time dad and has the tools in place to care for his family with patience and peace. Although he still deals with PTSD, with the continued support of home base and his therapist, he's able to enjoy things he used to avoid, like trips to the park or noisy crowds at Renaissance festivals.
My mood overall has been better. It's, it's not 100%. I still deal with, depression, and I still take antidepressants. But it feels like there are more good days than bad. Lucy is my 4-year-old. She goes out of her way to want to do things with me, specifically me, and not just mommy anymore. I'm not sure if she senses that I'm less angry now, and that's why that's occurred. I don't know. I'm just happy that it is. I feel like we are closer than we were before. I feel like I'm closer to my whole family. I feel like there's some sense of accomplishment that I've done something to take a positive step for myself and for my family that I feel proud of.
Brainline is powered in part by Wounded Warrior Project to honor and empower post 9/11 injured service members, veterans, and their families.